Good day, grade nines. I honestly hope that you are all still fine and you, just like me, can't wait to get back to school. It will be so nice to see all of you again. Today we have to do creditors, the posting and the accounting equation. So let's start. This is the creditors journal of exercise 1 that you've done. I just want to remind you about the rules for posting. Remember, when you post from a journal like this journal, you always have to post the sundry accounts column first. So this is always first sundry accounts column. Why? Because sundry accounts column, you post the individual amounts. So this 12580, they tell us must be posted to the equipment account. So remember, sundry accounts, you never post the column total, you post individual amounts in the sundry accounts column. Then all the other columns, you post packing material column, you will post the total to packing material. Trading inventory column, you will post the trading inventory account, the total, and the creditors control column, which is going to be a new account, will be posted to creditors control. Then though after we've done the posting to the general ledger, we also have to keep track of our creditors. So each of our creditors will have an account in a new ledger called the creditors ledger. In this exercise, there's two creditors. There's Metro, so we will have an account for Metro in the creditors ledger. And then there's cash and carry. We will have an account for cash and carry in the creditors ledger. All I've done is I've given a list of balances, which was not originally part of the exercise. It wasn't part of the information that I gave you. This list of balances, you need a list of balances so that when you start posting, you actually know what the balance in that specific account is. Then this is just the sundry accounts column. And in sundry accounts on the 5th, we bought equipment for 12,580. Obviously, this equipment must go to an equipment account. There's my equipment account. You know that equipment is an asset. Seeing that this is an asset, I'm trying to write with the mouse again. Can you see? Seeing that this is an asset, you know that the debit side is the plus and the credit side is the minus. Equipment has a balance, a debit balance. There's the balance written down on the 1st of April. Then on the 4th, we bought equipment, which means that we have now more equipment. So on the 5th, on the debit side, our equipment increased with 12,580 Rand. We saw this in creditors journal number 1, and we bought this on credit. And who do we owe the money to? To creditors. And the account for creditors in your general ledger is creditors control. The next column we look at, I took trading inventory. There's no specific reason. Trading inventory is a column. So for trading inventory, you will post to the trading inventory account. Trading inventory asset has a debit balance. This is the debit side is the plus side, the credit side is the minus. We bought trading inventory of this amount. You post on the last day of the month in April the 30th. Saw this in CJ1 and we bought on credit, so we owe creditors the money, and the account for creditors in the general ledger is creditors control. The next column I've used was creditors control. Name of the column tells you the name of the account. Now, creditors control is a new account. This is a liability. Let me just see if I can't write it. Liability. Sorry, taking long to write, but I'm trying to write with the mouse and it's not that good, not that neat. What do you know about liabilities? Liabilities increase on the credit side and decrease on the debit side. Creditors control had a balance of 9,500 Rand. Because it's a liability, this balance will be on the credit side. In total, we bought stuff to the value of 30,000 and something. So we owe our creditors more. That's why it's on the credit side. We saw this in CJ1 now. If you go back to the journal, you will see that we bought sorry people, that we bought equipment, we bought packing material, and we bought trading inventory. There's no way that you will fit all of that in this little space. So we need to find a term that tells us this is the total of all the stuff we bought on credit, and that term is called sundry purchases. So sundry purchases is the term used for all items purchased on credit. Then the last column I used was packing material. Packing material is a column. So packing material must be posted to the account. Packing material, there it is. You know that packing material is an expense. I'm just going to write EXP. For expenses, increase on the debit side, decrease on the credit side. Packing material had a balance. I took the balance and I wrote that on the debit side because that is where an expense balance will be. Column total on the 30th, don't forget, on the 30th, we bought from creditors. That's why we have creditors control, CJ1 and the amount. Now that concludes the posting to the general ledger. Now post to the creditors ledger. Inside the creditors ledger, you will find accounts for each of your creditors. We have two creditors. Can you see? Metro is the one. The C1 indicates that this is a creditor's account, and cash and carry is also a creditor's account. The columns of the creditors ledger is exactly the same as the columns of the debtors ledger. There's a date column, document number or details, folio, debit, credit, and balance. Remember, a creditor is a liability. Let me write liability again. Slowly but surely, I'm mastering this writing with the mouse. The liability. You know a liability has a credit balance, which means that the credit column will be the plus column and the debit column will be the minus column. We owed Metro 8,100 Rand at the start of the month. So on the 1st of April, we need to write account rendered. Remember, account rendered is just a fancy word for balance. And in the balance column, 8,100. Then we see that on the 5th, according to invoice 589, so on the 5th, invoice 589, we saw this in the CJ. We bought goods to the value of 6,106 Rand. So that means we owe Metro 6,106 Rand. So that is why it's in the credit column. Our debt is increasing. Our new balance will be the 8,100 plus this gives you the new balance of 14,206 Rand. Can you see that in the folio column? I wrote C1 because I need to remember that this amount was posted to the account of Metro, which is account number C1. Cash and carry, also a creditor. Account rendered was 1,400, so that's its balance. On the 16th, we bought according to invoice 590. On the 16th, invoice 590. So in the CJ, if we buy, we owe more. So we have that in the plus column. So the 1,400 plus the 18,000 will give me my new balance of 19,993.60. Then on the 24th, according to invoice 591, 24th, invoice 591, we saw this in the CJ. We bought goods on account of 5870. So I'm going to add that 2-hour debt, and our new balance is 25,863 rand and 60 cents. So that is posting to the creditors ledger, where remember in the creditors ledger, each individual creditor will have his own account. Right. Now, at the end of the month, you know that all accounts should either be balanced or totaled. That's the accounts in the general ledger. When do you balance an account? If that account has entries on both sides. When do you total an account? If the account has entries on one side only. I'm going to show you just that creditors control has a total. Why do I total that? Because there's entries on one side only. I add up, the total in the creditors control account is now 40,069 rand and 60 cents. You also need to prepare a creditors list. The creditors list is a list of your creditors in your creditors ledger with the total of how much you owe each of them. We've done Metro. For Metro creditor 1, we owe 14,000, and for cash and carry creditor 2, we owe that amount. You total your list, and this total must be equal to the balance of the creditors control account. There you can see we've actually managed to balance this and total the same amounts. Last thing we have to do about credit purchases is the effect on the accounting equation. So this is just examples. What can you buy on credit? You can buy an asset on credit. There's we bought an asset. If you buy an asset, whatever asset you buy will increase. Can you see? And you need to write equipment increase. You buy on credit, which means that you now owe the creditors more. Creditors are liabilities, so you will need to write in liabilities the plus, and your reason will be either creditors increase or you can write owe creditors more. The next one, you purchase an expense on credit. If it's an expense, obviously nothing to do with assets or nothing under assets. You know expenses decrease the owner's equity, like you are used to this, and then you owe the creditors more money. The last one that you must be able to do is if we buy anything for the owner on credit. Now again, if anything for the owner, nothing to do with assets, because anything for the owner's drawings. Drawings decreases owner's equity, and again we owe the creditors more money. This grade 9 is the credit purchases, the posting to the general ledger, the posting to the creditors ledger, the preparing of the creditors list, and then the effect of the accounting equation. Your homework for Thursday is going to be an exercise where I've given you the journal, it's been done, but I want you to practice the posting and do the accounting equation. So part of my post for today is going to be the exercise that you will have to do. Please stay well, stay safe. Remember, it's only after this week, it's only 2 more weeks and then you are back in school. I really cannot wait to see all of you. You must keep well.